Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Perry Flips on Instagram, Pothead Picker on X or Twitter. Flips and Giggles is the eBay store and also the Facebook page, and now also the Whatnot page or store name, username, whatever you call it. Podcast is available wherever you listen, so you can get it, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, available at pretty much everywhere. Audio only for the time being. Eventually I will do video. I know I've been talking about it forever. I just wanted to get stuff on YouTube. It's on YouTube now, and so I'll figure it out. That'll be my goal for next year. Next year. I don't know. No, I need to get it going. I just don't really have I don't have a spot to just set up and I want a spot where I can just set it up and leave it. Right now I just don't have that. Like, our basement area is like a living space and where the kids play. And like half the time I've got half of it filled with stuff that I've just brought in that I haven't got to yet. So it's, I need to find just a space where I can set my stuff up. And then that way I can, have like a little set. So we'll see. It's, there's only so much time, If you like the show, make sure you subscribe, tell your friends. This is a reselling podcast. Each week I kind of go through and just talk about my week in reselling, almost like a verbal journal, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, this is another week, another week. I think it's been consistently Monday the last few weeks. That just kind of seems like the time I have to do it. And so, yeah, it's been nice out. I have another Whatnot auction scheduled for Wednesday night at 8:30. So come hang out with us. I've got a link for $15 if you've never signed up for Whatnot. So there's a link for $15 you can spend on the store, or you can spend on the show, rather. So the show should be about an hour long. I'm hoping to do an hour. Last week we were going to do, or the last one we did, we were going to do an hour. It's tough because when people are like buying shit and bidding on shit and you got t-shirts to go through, it's just like you want to kind of keep going through them. But I think I'll be more tempted to wait because I do have, such a big amount of t-shirt, like not big amount, but I have a lot of t-shirts still to get moving. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. That'll be starting at 8:30. So we'll be hanging out there for a little bit. I got to get better at talking on the stream because it's hard because you're trying to I'm trying to make sure that I'm not losing the audience, but you also have to, describe the clothes accurately. And I'm also having to give instructions to my wife. So I'm hoping that she kind of gets it a little bit better. I need to talk to her before we do. I thought she knew how to measure clothes, and show clothing measurements, but she did not. Apparently that's not common knowledge. So I was kind of having to instruct her as we go, and I'm almost positive that none of that information will have stuck, just because we had so much going on. So I got to go back over that because that was one of the things was trying to get the size. But I've seen people that just do the sale and they just hold it up. So I don't know. I might move all of my stuff out and then just do it on camera and hold up the shirts. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I might play with it and might do a different setup and just go on camera. But I don't know because then I can't do I was trying to do it so you could see the measurements. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to have a bunch of returns. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Whatnot's payouts either. That's taken quite a bit of time to get paid out from this shit. Some of the stuff already was delivered, that stuff paid out pretty quickly, but I have another package. It's for some reason it's taking forever to get there. And of course it's the biggest order. So it's $130 that I'm just waiting on right now. And I'm nervous because I was having issues with that tracking, the shipping label and stuff when I was doing it. And I reached out to Whatnot. And they were supposed to be taking care of it, which it looked like they'd had. So I'm hoping that it's just taking a minute. And But yeah, I'm hoping that we'll be a little bit more comfortable. I definitely need to talk a little bit more on the whatnot. I did mention the podcast on there, so I gotta get better at like telling people about the podcast. It's like 70 plus episodes in now, and I'm like, maybe I should advertise this podcast a little bit. I haven't done any advertising. Like I'll tell, I don't even really tell people about it. I'm really bad at it. So yeah, next whatnot show this Wednesday. It's crazy because like the first one we did was like not necessarily a failure. We had the most people come in. We had the most eyes on our stream, and we just didn't really make a ton of money because I was doing comic books, and it was just a terrible idea. I didn't know what whatnot was. I didn't know and the thing was like, because it was our first one, and I looked online, and I was like, somebody was like, oh, I did my first whatnot stream, and I thought like I'd take it easy and do like 15 items just to make sure like, I was good and made sure I knew everything. We did like 300 something items on the first one. I mean, it was comic books and shit, so it was kind of like, took a while. But yeah, that was just the dumbest shit ever. We did comic books for our first whatnot sale. I think I made like $50 like after all the payouts and shit. And that was like with the whatnot bonus, because we hit the bonus for streaming for 2 hours. So it's just been a grind. Like the last one, like I said, was the first like successful one, and I still haven't even really seen the benefit to it because of the fact that I haven't been paid out yet. So I'm hoping that their shit gets delivered today and I get fucking paid finally. But it's it's definitely a new thing. I've kind of like more had the mentality of like, oh, I'm a whatnot seller. Although I haven't really like been buying like a whatnot seller. You know what I mean? Like I missed a big, not a big opportunity, but a decent opportunity yesterday to pick up a lot of stuff in bulk. Just because like I was driving away and I was like, the prices were a little bit high, but she was negotiable. And I guarantee you if I was just like, hey, I want to make like a huge pile of stuff, how much would you charge me? Because like we came up with a price on some of the stuff, and like I was like, oh, I added a bunch of stuff to that pile, and they like the price went up like $10. You know what I mean? So their prices were pretty good, and they had like a bunch of NECA figures. They wanted $10 a piece. I could probably have got them all for $5 a piece. But I was like looking them up, and the NECA stuff just was not. It was like $30, $40, like with shipping, and well, obviously plus some of those were plus shipping, but like with the fees and shit, it just didn't seem worth it. But then I was like, well, if I could get them cheap enough, then I could do a whatnot sale. You know what I mean? And just kind of blow through them all in one night. But I didn't think about that till I was already done at the sale. So it's just a little bit of a mentality twist when I'm or tweak that I need to make when I'm going out and buying stuff, because there are some opportunities, but right now I just don't have a ton of space. I'm like running out. My yard sale pile is getting bigger and bigger, and I've been talking about how I'm like waiting for one of my neighbors who had asked me about doing a yard sale, but I was talking to one of my other neighbors, and apparently while we were gone, or this happened a couple weeks ago, I guess he had like a health thing where like a fall or something. So I don't even know if he's planning on doing a yard sale still. I got to go talk to him once I see him, or if I can get a hold of him. I don't want to call and reach out and bother him because I haven't seen him. So I don't know if he's like in the hospital or what, or if I see the neighbor who's watching his dog, I can ask her if she knows the deal. But yeah. So my yard sale just it needs to happen now at this point. I just have so much stuff, and I'm just starting to run out of room, and I want to clear out. Like I usually go through my inventory, and like I have a bunch of stuff sitting that needs to just get pulled. So a lot of my inventory is going to be coming down, and then to make room for new stuff. And I'm hoping to buy a storage unit, one more storage unit before the next yard sale, so I can have like a bunch of like random shit. So hopefully I can find one that doesn't go for crazy money, and that's also not a bunch of bullshit. I don't even need stuff to fucking sell online. I just want shit to sell for my yard sale, and if I get some cool shit to sell online, then that will be like a perk. So, yeah. Anyway, enough about whatnot. So this past weekend, there was a sale on Friday. So normally there's no sales on Friday. And then this Friday there was like 3 or 4 sales. One was kind of a hike. It was like 30 something minutes. And like I would have had to go and wait and sit there. And like there was some cool designer clothes, but at the end of the day, I didn't know what their prices were going to be. And it was, I used to drive a lot further for yard sales and stuff, but like if you drive 45 minutes for a sale and it's a bust, like that's such a waste of time, especially if there's other sales that day. And then you put yourself completely in a different area than where all the sales are occurring, then you just kind of fucked your day up. So yeah, this one was like kind of far. I mean, I'm sure there was probably some decent stuff, but if I go out there and their prices are crazy, then it's like, well, fuck, I just wasted a bunch of time and money and gas. So there was another one that they do it every year, and every year I go and I don't buy anything. So every year they post it, and I remember the first year I was like, oh, sweet, they posted it in the newspaper. Like, nobody else is going to know about this. I'm going to be able to, like, get there and get some good shit. And then I show up, and it's like all bullshit glassware, bullshit, like, furniture, like nothing worth much. Like, you can tell quality old furniture. This was not like quality shit. This year they had Sports Illustrated magazines, which were like the newer things that they had. They had them as vintage, which they were like in the 90s. So yeah, technically they're vintage, but like their prices on those were crazy. I didn't really want to buy them. And I didn't see any, like, I know there's a couple that are worth some money, but I didn't see any of like those ones. And then they had advertised a Dooney Bork bag. I didn't see a Dooney Bork. I saw a lady buying a purse, like a big handbag, when I was leaving, and it looked like a fake Louis Vuitton. So I don't know if that was the bag that they were like, oh, this is the Dooney Bork. So I ended up not buying a single thing at that sale. I went to that sale last just because every year in the past, like, I've not bought one thing, but you never know. I could go next year and I buy one thing from them, and it's like the most expensive and valuable thing that I've found in years. So you just kind of never know. And then the other sale, where did I go? What was the other sale I went to on Friday? I'm going to have to pull out my maps because I'm going to forget. I used to be able to remember like the breakdown of every sale I went to, but now I've just gone to so many. I used to know where I bought every single item. Now, like 2 weeks ago, you show me an item, I'll be like, I don't remember where I got that. No, I'm not that bad. It's not like nearly that bad. So Friday. Oh, yeah. So there was another sale up the street from me. It was probably like 6 minutes from my house. And so I was like, all right, sweet. So I went there, like, there was another sale. When was that sale? I found another sale. I forget where I found it because I went to that sale first. Because I remember now, yeah, because I went to that sale first. And then I went to, I'm trying to remember because I found some, no, that was the next day. That had to have been the next day. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember what. So it must have just been the two. I'm trying to remember because I had my mom watch my kids, and I left. I dropped them off at like 7:45. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I went to like, man, I'm like blanking. I think it was Fairhaven, which is like a town a couple towns away. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If I don't remember what I got there, I mean, it's not like it couldn't have been that cool. So I went to that sale, and then I went back to that other sale that I had talked about, the one that was like close to my house. And that sale they didn't have a ton of stuff, but I was like, oh, do you have any video games? And she was like, I do have one thing, but I didn't bring it out for the yard sale because I know it's a little bit expensive. And so I was like, okay, here we go. So she brings out a PlayStation 2 console, and she's like, oh yeah, this PlayStation 2 console was like, it's like brand new. So first she said it was brand new, which again, it's not brand new if it's, it would be brand new if it was Not used, but this was something that was used. I just completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. So the PlayStation 2. So it was like open box. I'd explain to her like, open box. And she lives kind of near me. So anytime people live near me, I'm always like trying to be nice to them because you never know when you're going to see them again. And so I asked her like, oh, what are you asking on this? It had one sealed Battlefield or Call of Duty game, but it was like a greatest hits game. It was maybe a $15 game sealed. And then there was like a 007 game. Was it? I can't remember the name of that 007 game now. Crossfire or something like that. It was the one that came out like right after GoldenEye. Or, yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, so it came with like those games. And, I mean, it was like, still had the wrapping packaging on it and all that stuff. So I go, how much do you want for it? And she goes, $1,000. I'm like, jeez, okay, lady. So she says $1,000, and I go, okay, well, let me look this up. And like at this point, I know I'm not buying it. You know what I mean? Anytime you come with that price, it's like, okay. So I'm like looking online, and the closest one I found was like $450, like with free shipping or something like that. So like maybe $300, $350, something like that is like what you would look at getting for her thing. And that's, again, if somebody's looking to buy that. Like, video games, while they do sell really well more than other categories, like right now it's not, the market on video games is not as hot as it's been in the past. And so, yeah, so she wanted $1,000 for it. So I was like, well, let me look this up. So I look it up, and I tell her, I show her like, hey, this is like what it sold for. And she's just not really getting, and at this point, I don't want to buy it. I'm just like trying to tell her, because I'm like, your fucking price is retarded. Like nobody's going to pay that price for what you're asking. Like, even if you post this online, you're going to get fucking laughed at for posting such a ridiculous, unresearched, like fucking number. Like, so I told her like where it was, and you could tell the look on her face was just like, and I told her, I was like, honestly, I don't want to buy this. I'm not like, I'm just trying to give you some information so you're like, you don't think that you're going to be making a lot more than you are. And so I kind of explained to her like where she'd be at. And so she was like, well, thank you so much for that info. Thank you. She's like, well, I might sell the game. Do you think I should sell the game? Like the game's not worth as much. So should I just sell the games separately, and I can keep this and sell this online? I go, yeah, let me look that game up. Let me see what it goes for. I was like, oh, so on eBay, it's probably going for like $20 to $25 or something like that. She goes, oh, okay, so I should sell it for $20. And I just kind of laughed and smirked. I said, sure, go ahead. And I left. I was like, all right, I've wasted too much time here. That was the last stop for me, but I was just like, okay, I've wasted too much time. Like you're not getting how it works. So somebody might have come along and offered her enough for that PlayStation, but it was just a regular run of the mill PlayStation 2. Like, yeah, it was open box, but half the time people say that shit, it's always you take it all the way out, and then like I didn't even get to that part because she was asking so much for it. But like you take it out of the box, you check it out and inspect it, and it's like, so yeah, she was thinking she was gonna get like online money at her yard sale, which is, it's very rare that happens. I mean, you could maybe get lucky and you find a collector and they're willing to pay up just because they're not having to pay cash. But yeah, for the most part, you're not going to really get what you think you're going to get at a yard sale. So that was Friday. And then I feel like I got back and had to like run back out. Oh yeah. So this week, fuck that. I forgot about this. So like, this was like, what day was it? Like Wednesday or Thursday. I went on Marketplace, and I always check Marketplace first thing in the morning because sometimes people will post stuff like, a few hours before, right before they go to bed, and then you can like, get lucky if you hit them right before, anybody else in the morning. So this guy had posted they were like two life-size Darth Maul from Star Wars The Phantom Menace. It was like, these were probably from 2001. So there's one, just like a regular one from the movie, and then there was another one that was Mountain Dew. and he had them both listed for $40. So I sent a message like, hey, I can come get this whenever, blah, 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 blah. But then I got nervous because I'm like, dude, I want these things. Like, I loved Phantom Menace growing up. I went and saw them before the movies came out. Like, so I sent a message, and I'm like, hey, I sent a message. He posted it like 3 times. Like, this guy did not know what the fuck he was doing. So I sent another message on one of his other posts, and I was like, hey, I can do 50. I'll offer 50 for these, and I can come get them as soon as possible. So he responded to that and was like, come get them. But he left the other one. He didn't answer the other one. So I'm like, did he know that it was the 2? Like, that both of them were me? He probably did afterwards. He probably figured it out. But you never know. He probably was just like, $50, I'll take that. So I went and picked them up, and yeah, they're like life size. I got to figure out shipping on them right now. I just have them listed for local pickup on eBay. But I might put them on Craigslist. I don't know. I was thinking about listing them individually on Facebook. You know, I never give a fuck about buying shit on Facebook and relisting it like for a higher price. It's just because people don't know how to list shit on Facebook. You know what I mean? I don't even think he had the right price. Or the right name. He had like Phantom Menace, Phantom spelled wrong. And I don't even think he had Star Wars in the title or Mountain Dew. Like, you put something that's Mountain Dew related. I've sold Mountain Dew shit on Facebook Marketplace. People drive from like other states to pick up Mountain Dew shit. Like, I had a bottle. I think I sold it for $20, and this dude drove from New Hampshire to buy a $20. It was like a coin bank for Mountain Dew, and he drove all that way. So I'm hoping to get a few $100s each for them. One's like brand new, never been opened. The other one is uncut, so it's like it's been maybe displayed, but like just from storage, it's kind of got some creases and shit. But for the most part, they were pretty solid pickups. I was pretty happy with them. Yeah, for somebody who like was all about the Phantom Menace and Darth Maul, even though Darth Maul is kind of one of the most disappointing, I like in that movie. I know he comes back after in some of the shows. But yeah, he was just like, they kept showing this fucking dude with like the black and red, and he's got horns and the double lightsaber, and you're like, oh, this guy's going to be a fucking problem. And then he's got like a couple small like the scenes, and then he has this cool fight scene at the end. You're like, oh, this is going to be fucking dope. They're going to be fucking fighting all through this thing. They get like through this one big room. They do a big little fucking thing. And then all of a sudden it gets cut in half. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, so disappointing. But anyway, that was just one of the problems I had with that movie. I loved that movie. It's just, that sucked. That was annoying. But anyway, so now I've got 2 giant Darth Maul cardboard things. My wife, I was taking them in and taking pictures, because anytime I get big shit, like my thing is like take pictures of them before you even put them away. So now anytime I get big shit, I just take pictures and I get them listed ASAP. And so I was doing that. I was getting pictures, and my kids were and my wife were out. And my wife was like, kids, watch out for dad's expensive cardboard. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much 90% of my business model is expensive cardboard or paper. So yeah, I put that and took pictures of that and got it all listed. So that was pretty cool. I was like pretty pumped about that. And it's been a while since I've got a marketplace score, and I know I'm going to make money, especially at $50. Like, even 40 was a steal, but like 50 is still fine. You know what I mean? I always think like if $10 is going to make or break your profit margin, then like you're not doing it right. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that. So then Friday, that was the end of Friday sales. Well, I skipped around a bit. I went back in time in the week to kind of recap one of the things that had happened. So then Saturday sales rolled around. My wife was off. Those are my favorite days, because I just get up. I don't have to fucking do anything. I don't have to get the kids ready the night before. Like, this week is a week that my wife works, and I'm going to have to take the kids out with me, or take one of them with me. The other older one can stay with my mom. But last summer, my wife like somehow got like the entire month of August to where she was off. So every Saturday it was just like me solo dolo hitting yard sales. But my oldest isn't bad now. She's like, she can get out at the bigger ones. But the problem is when you go to a bunch of yard sales and it's like these little dinky yard sales, and you're like, all right, well, I'm not going to take this kid out for every fucking stop. You know what I mean? It's like I want her to come out for the good yard sales where she can like look around and do shit. And then you don't hit any of those sales, I'm, feel like kind of a dick. But, everybody's got to do boring shit with their parents. This could be worse. I could go to work for fucking 8 hours and just leave her with a fucking babysitter. You know what I mean? Like, my kids are very lucky. I had to have a conversation with my kid last night because she's been kind of ungrateful and, like, spoiled and shit. So I had to be like, hey, you should be very lucky. Like, it's like, you should be very lucky. Like, some kids don't have two parents to take them and do fun things. And, like, you don't, feed them. And, we had our neighbors over last night. I'm like, we invited the neighbors over. Like, you got to do a lot of fun stuff. Like, you should be a little bit more grateful. So I had to, like, have that whole talk with my kid. My kids are starting to become spoiled little fucking shits. I said, I was like, I'm going to drive you to a bad neighborhood and drop you off. She's like, no. I was like, well, just watch. I'll drive you back to my old neighborhood and let you walk around. Get beat up. No, she wouldn't. She's adorable. Nobody would beat her up. I hope not. Some scumbag maybe, but fuck them. So yeah, anyway, so Saturday I was solo. So there was a 7 a.m. Yard sale. The day started off pretty hot. I was like, okay, there was a 7 a.m. yard sale, and I could walk to it from my house. It was very close. And the ad said that they had brand new hats and stuffies, stuffed animals. So I was like, all right, I like both of those things. So I got there at like 6:40. I didn't want to get there too early, even though it was like, when it's close to my house, then I'm like, well, now what? Do I go back to the house? Do I drive around? So I was just like, fuck it, I'll go at like 6:40. And then that way I can wait. There's no other sales this early and, be on my way. So I got there and he was already out, like set up, and he had a ton of hats. And he was like, oh, go ahead and go look through. Unfortunately, a lot of the hats were just like run of the mill, like, there was right off the bat what caught my attention. There was 2 Stone Cold Steve Austin vintage hats that were like brand new. I didn't realize there was 2. I went to grab it and there was one under it. So he was doing like 3 for $10 on the hats. And so yeah, I think I got like 6 of them. I spent $20. I got 2 of the Stone Cold ones. There was like a Ninja Turtles one that was pretty cool. An old football club hat. I've sold stuff like that before for good money. And then I don't know, just a couple like random stuff that I was like, whatever, I'll just throw this in to make it 6. So we got those things there. That was like the first sale. And then there was another sale that had popped up the day before that was like, it said that it was a huge record sale. It said they had VHS and stuff too, but the VHS all kind of sucked. The pictures showed like a ton of stuff. So I was like, all right, I got to get there. Like, I'll go right from this one to that one. So I drove from that one to the other sale. I got to that sale around 7:15, something like that. And so I go, and there's a guy waiting. And he's a guy I've seen before. I knew he was there for like artwork, so I knew he wasn't there for that other stuff. So I was like, I asked him something. I can't remember what I asked him. I was like, oh, he hasn't opened up yet. He's like, no, not yet. So it's like, all right, I'll probably come back. So I started walking back to the car, and I was like, no, why the fuck are you going to come back? There's no other sales. Like, just wait. So I went back, and I had a sweatshirt on, so it was hot anyway. So I threw that sweatshirt into the car, grabbed like a bag, and walked back to the guy who was waiting there. And I just was like shooting the shit with him, said something like, and like, right when I walked over, the guy who was having the sale opened up. He's like, oh, come on in. Like, and he just had just shitloads of records. And he starts explaining like the records. I never listen. Whenever people start talking to me at a yard sale, it's like, you're telling us this whole thing. You're going to tell this to every person. Like, I do. Whenever I have a yard sale, like, I fucking am constantly making announcements. I'm constantly like, hey, like this price, because I don't mark shit, but I also don't want people thinking like, oh, this isn't marked, it's going to be expensive. I'm constantly just like, 2 for $1 on this. If you make a pile. The more the better, just constantly encouraging people to buy a bunch of shit. I'm like, you're not going to be, nobody's ever left my sale, put stuff back. Nobody's ever put stuff back. One guy, one time, he said that my price was too expensive for hats. It was like, I think $2 a piece was the price I had on the hats at that time. And they were good hats, like good vintage hats. And he said that that price was too high, and then the next guy came and bought all my hats. So I was like, all right. Clearly my price wasn't too high. So I've been trying to be better about, like, I almost priced my yard sale too low. Like, my wife is always like, why do you price your shit so low? And I'm like, I just want it gone. You know what I mean? That's like one stream of income that we're getting is from this yard sale. So I just want it gone. And so I went in and this guy's giving the spiel about, like, you know, I've got, like, you know, several record collections. And so there was like a bunch of bins in the middle, and then there was some bins on the outside. And I could see, like, I kind of did a pass through at all the bins. The other guy was like looking at artwork. So it was just me and him. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out where the good shit is, like, now. So then I find a bin with hip hop stuff. So that's the first bin I dug into, is hip hop. And I think that was the only bin with hip hop. And then the other bins were all stuff that he had, like, listed on Amazon, I think he was saying. So he was like, yeah, whatever the price is, you know, take half that price off for the price. But he had everything in alphabetical order. So I was like, I'm not going through, like, this. In hindsight, I probably should have, because a lot of the sales I went to ended up sucking, but you never know. And I had already got a bunch of good records. I got a bunch of good comic books. And so then this other guy shows up, and he's a dude I know from sales. Like, he's been to my sale before, and he sells similar shit to me. But he walked in, and he was like, as I was digging through the hip hop records, he's like, you got any hip hop? And the guy's like, oh yeah, I think there's some in that green bin over there. And I just had a pile of them. And so, like, I don't even think he bothered looking in that bin, but he was going through all the other shit. So I'm sure he probably found some good shit. But I just thought it was funny. Like, I was like 2 seconds. I was going to leave and come back, and I would have just missed those fucking records. I mean, it's not like anything crazy, but I should make some money on those. This guy was fucking wild. He was, like, definitely an old liberal. He was like, he was funny though. He was like fucking smoking a fucking joint. It was like 7:20 in the morning. Like, mind you, I fucking had smoked and then, like, you know, taken off and started driving to yard sales, you know. So I can't really talk shit. And he's like just fucking smoking a joint. But at this point, like, I'm not high anymore, you know what I mean? I'm like high for like 20 minutes. It's like coffee for me. Like, I'm just like, all right, I need that to like wake me up a little bit, and then it, like, you know, and then I'm kind of not high, you know, just like lingering. It's not even like a buzz. It's just almost like caffeine. And but this guy's just fucking smoking a fucking doobie and going on and on about how he went and saw the Clash and how he fucking hates the Pigs, and how he went to this concert and the fucking Pigs came. And bro, I was just like, my dude, you're smoking a joint. It's too early to be fucking this angry about something that happened that many years ago. Like, and but he was cool. He gave me a good deal because I would listen to his fucking stories. Always listen to people's stupid ass stories. You know what I mean? People who want to talk start just like, nobody else was talking to the guy, and you could tell he just wanted to fucking say nonsense. I was just like, all right, let me fucking entertain whatever you're saying. You know, just respond 1 or 2 times, because his price that he had on everything, I think, was like $40, and he was like, I'll do 20 on it. I was like, all right. So he gave me like a really good deal, and yeah, so that was pretty cool. Like, I haven't been to a sale like that. There was a ton of records. There was a lot of artwork too, but I don't know enough about it. Like, there was the other guy was just going through. He had all the time in the world. He was like going through each art piece. So I'm sure, like, I know that there's like stuff that sells, and I kind of look at stuff that to see like, oh, like, this looks cool. If it's something that I think looks cool or interesting or look like it might be valuable, I'll maybe do a little bit more research. But most of the stuff I come across is kind of like not great. And like, including like that stuff, I didn't come across, like, you know, nothing in there looked like it was anything that I was super pumped to grab, you know. So anyway, and then what did I do after that? After that sale, it was kind of, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a good day. You know, it was kind of a good start. I got some hip hop records, some Stone Cold hats. And I was like, oh, we're going to, you know, keep it moving. So then where did I go? Let me pull this up. So then I just kind of drove around. I went back to, there was a sale that's right. That's what happened. So there was a few other sales. I kind of drove around. I went to one sale that was nearby. They were like, oh, we got video games. It was all like PlayStation and nonsense. And then there was another sale that was supposed to have vintage t-shirts. I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, let me go get some more vintage t-shirts. Let's do this. So this guy had posted a sale, and then the day of, I had messaged him asking him a question. Like, I always message people that when they have stuff that I want, just to make sure that they're not going to sell it before, you know what I mean? Because I've been in instances when you go and you show up to a thing and they're like, oh, somebody reached out and I sold it online. I'm like, well, that's fucking messed up. You know what I mean? So I'll send them a message and be like, hey, are you selling anything before? Not necessarily even that I want to buy it. I just want to know, like, I'm not going to waste my time. And so yeah, I had reached out just to be like, hey, can I ask about these t-shirts? I was like, okay, I'm interested in them. Like, I'll be by unless you have any opportunity to sell, buy them before then. Nothing, didn't say anything. And then I show up the day of the fucking thing. He's got a couple things in the driveway, but no signs anywhere. So I'm like, all right, I pull up. I'm 20 minutes early at this point. So I pull up, I get out. I'm standing in the driveway, looking around, seeing if anybody's going to come out. And some old guy comes out and he's looks at me like he's confused as to why I'm there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for the yard sale. It's supposed to be a yard sale here today. And so he goes inside and he calls somebody, and then the old guy comes back out. He's like, oh yeah, he said it's canceled till next week. I'm like, oh, this fucking dickhead couldn't even come out and tell me himself that his fucking sale was canceled. So I was a little annoyed because I wasted probably 45 minutes on that. That's between driving and just where it put me out of the way. It was, yeah, a waste of time. So I was pretty annoyed about that. That kind of set my day off. And then after that, it was kind of it was shaky. I didn't find too much. Oh, I remember now what I found. So that on Friday, there was a sale. That's right. I remember now. So I went to this sale. It said it had a ton of clothes, and I got there earlier than they had opened. I think I got there at they opened at 8:30. I got there at 8:10. And he was and I was like, oh, and they had their clothes set up. And I was like, oh, do you guys have any men's clothes or whatever? And the guy was like, oh no, that stuff went quick. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, there's no fucking way. I know this area, you know what I mean? I'm like, there's no way that you sold every piece of your men, unless you had the best stuff, you just had all fire t-shirts, you know what I mean? Then I can see that happening. But there's no way that this guy sold out of all his men's clothes, everything. I've never been to a sale where just all the men's, you know what I mean? So I was like, what? I couldn't understand if he meant he sold them before the sale or what, but I was just I was kind of getting FOMO because I'm like, did I need to come to this sale earlier? I didn't think I needed to, but apparently I did. And so anyway, he didn't have any clothes after all that, even though it said that they had men's clothes. So apparently somebody bought all their clothes. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I've never seen people race if they say they have video games, then yes, there's going to be fucking resellers knocking the door in this area. But I've never been to and especially on a Friday. You know what I mean? There still would have been somebody there loading stuff up, unless they were open crazy early, and they were still getting stuff up. So none of it made sense to me. I was like, are you trying to give me FOMO, you motherfucker, when it's not warranted? But anyway, so that sale they had, just on on one of the tables, they had 8. How many were it? 1, 2, 3, maybe 6 or 7 of the Gemmy. I never know how to say that. The old electronics talking singing thing. So these are the hip hop frogs. Most of them were hip hop frogs. There was a couple other ones that were different, and so they had a bunch of them. So I was like, oh sweet, those things are for the right price. Those things, I'll buy them all day, whether they work or not. But I think they wanted $2 a piece, so I got $2 a piece on them, and they were like, oh yeah, they all work. I'm like, oh yeah, they all work, huh? And in my head, I'm just like, there's no fucking way that unless they all have no batteries in them, there's no way these all work. So I get them home. Sure enough, every single one has batteries in it. Only 2 of them weren't corroded. So 2 of them tested right away and worked. That was fine. And then the other 3, I haven't even tested them. They're not too corroded, but I'm like, I have doubts that these work automatically. You know what I mean? But for people to just say that, like, what if I had like, for $2, I'm not going to waste the time to be like, all right, let's test each one of these out and then haggle for $2. Like, for $2, I'm just going to take them, and if it doesn't work out, I'll throw it in my yard sale pile. You know what I mean? Like, or sell them for parts. Even they'll still get more than I paid for them, because I paid fucking like $12. I think. Yeah, it was 6 of them. So I paid $12, and so yeah, I got them back, and they were like, most of them had corrosion. I'm just like, like, what the fuck? I always tell people, like, if something doesn't work, I'm just like, it doesn't work, or I'll be like, I don't know. Like, if I haven't tested it, I'll be like, I don't know. I didn't have the means to test it. That's why it's in the yard sale. You know what I mean? Because people kind of expect at my sales, they're just like, you get storage units, so there's stuff in storage units you never kind of know. I'm not testing all of it all the time, so we shall see. So then after that, I just kind of drove around to a few more sales on Saturday. I had to kind of get back somewhat early. I picked up some like vintage granny panties. It was like the first time. I looked them up while I was there, but it's like one of those days, you know what I mean, where you're driving around and I don't find anything. I'm like, all right, well, I didn't really find much else, so I might as well grab these fucking granny panties. And so I should do all right on that. That sale was like another one was like, we have a ton of clothes. And I got there and it was just like not that much clothes. I'm like, is there somebody running around this like, because this was in a completely different town. So I'm like, is this somebody like running around stealing all the clothes or what? But I don't know. And then I went to another sale that advertised that they had comics. So I got there like kind of late, and I had expected the comics to be gone. And so I asked them, they're like, oh, we're still there pulling stuff out. I'm like, fucking, I was there after the sale opened, and they were still pulling stuff out. That's fucking crazy. Like, how are you having a sale and you don't have everything out before your sale's set up? And these people were resellers. This is my competition. You know what I mean? Like, this is my fucking competition. So they had this shit like all, on the lawn, still kind of pulling stuff out. So I was like, yeah, I asked about the comic books. They're like going looking through, comic books and shit. And I found some Nintendo games. Like, I found some good shit there. So like, whoever had come and looked through stuff, they didn't look very well. I found some like cool vintage stuff. And then I got some comic books. Like, some of the comic books I got, like, were older. So I got one that was like a $40 book. Another one that was like a $30 book. With the condition and everything. So it wasn't like, all that bad. And so then I pulled like this bin of like, little cool old stuff, like, little PVC toys and shit. I was excited about that. And he's like, oh, sorry, that was my daughter's. It's not supposed to be in there. I'm like, all right, this fucking dickhead. And I'm trying to be nice because they're new resellers and like, whatever shit happens. And so then I'm like, they pull out the comic books. I'm going through the comics, and like, I start to get to the bottom, and there's a couple of like wrestling programs from like the 90s. So I'm like, oh, I'm definitely interested in those. So I start grabbing those and putting them in my pile. And he like notices that there's wrestling stuff in there, the guy whose sale it is. So he doesn't even say anything. He just kind of slick, and he just like starts taking the wrestling stuff out of there. There was only like 3 more books. And I think at that point they were wrestling magazines. So I got like the programs, which were probably worth more than the actual magazines. And so he just like takes them and like casually walked away. Like, I'm glad he didn't take them from my pile. And I was thinking, I'm like, do I say something to be like, hey, I was going to grab those? I mean, it's his sale, obviously. Like, so it'd be like, hey, were those not for sale? But then I'm like, I'm drawing attention to the fact that I have the other ones. And it wasn't like I was hiding them. They were literally like, he saw me taking them out and was just like, oh, I better grab those. And so he grabbed them and like took them. Didn't say anything about it, but I was just like, all right, that's kind of fucking, I would have at least said something. But, at that point, that would have been the second thing that he would have had to been like, oh, sorry, that's not for sale. You know what I mean? So I think he was just trying to save face. But yeah, this is my competition. Like, dude, have your fucking sales ready. Have them ready. And he was like, make an offer. I paid them like probably more than I should have, but like, I was like, whatever, I'll try to help you guys out. I know I can make money on this stuff. But have your fucking have an idea of how you're going to price it. Don't come to me and be like, make a fucking offer. You make the offer. It's your sale. You make the offer. and I know I've taken shit back like at yard sales before. I did it one time, and it was I wouldn't normally do it, but it was a guy that I knew previous. We had previous interactions. He comes and buys shit for me all the time, and like he's kind of a pain in my ass. You know what I mean? So if it was like anybody else, I would have probably been like, all right, I fucked up, whatever, you can take him. But because it was him, I was like, nah, those weren't supposed to be in there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, but that was cool. I mean, it's always cool to meet like new resellers at the beginning and try to give them advice, even though they're like they don't listen to any of it. They're just like, oh, we tried that. They were like, we tried whatnot, and the shipping was hard. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you got to do it a couple times. I'm on my like 5th or 6th try, and I wouldn't say we're good at it yet, but you just got to keep fucking trying as a reseller. Again, this is my competition. This is the competition. So get out there and hit it, do it. So then on Sunday, so Saturday after I was done, I had to kind of get back. I wanted to go out more. Like every time that's the only problem is when my wife is off, is like anytime that she's off, she plans some shit so that I have to get back at some point. So I'm like, all right, well, this is like, it's cool because I get to go out by myself, but then now I have to get, like, I want to be out yard selling for a while. And so I had to get back, and we had to go to like this, it was my daughter's friend was having a birthday party. It was at like a little beach up the street. So we went to that. It was fun, it wasn't like too many people. It was just like a small party, and, luckily it was only 2 hours. That's the thing. Kids' parties, usually it's like 2 hours. It's like whatever. They had alcohol there. I didn't drink. I'm like very selective now about when I drink. Like I didn't drink there, and then we went home and went to dinner that day. We went out to dinner that night, and I drank. I didn't like drink it fucked up, but I had like a drink at dinner, and then I had like a drink when we got home, and then I had a couple drinks on Sunday. I know, but I was doing the session IPAs, like the low alcohol IPAs, and I would drink an IPA, then I would drink a soda water, like a regular soda water. So I was going back and forth. And then I started cooking dinner. I think that was about the end. So I only had like 3 beers or something like that. And I don't even think I finished those. So, not a big drinking weekend. So then Sunday I went after, after the day before. So I brought like, I can't remember how much money I had out, but I still had like a bunch of money left from the day before, like, so I didn't have to even go get more money. So I went, and there was this sale that had been on Saturday, and they posted like an update later in the day, and it was like second day of the sale or whatever. And the pictures, they still had a ton of shit. Like they had jerseys and shoes and like video games. Like they had a bunch of shit. So I was like, I'll drive there. It was like a little bit further, but there was a couple other sales out that way. So I was like, fuck it, I'll drive out that way, see if it's worth it. Who knows? And so I get out there, and they've got like all the stuff set up. It was a little bit before 8. And, so I started asking about the jerseys, and the lady was like, oh, I think you wanted $10 a piece, but we're negotiable. So she kept saying we're negotiable. And she's like, and they just left me here, so I don't really know what they want for prices. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I got to get prices quick on stuff. So I started like making a little pile. I grabbed some jerseys. They had, that was the place that had all the NECA figures. They had a bunch of video games, but it was all like, PS4, it wasn't even like a bunch of PS4. A lot of the games were mixed in with DVDs. It was mostly like Xbox One and like PS4, then a bunch of DVDs. So it was like stuff that if I got a great bundle deal, it would have probably been worth it. But like, I don't know, it would have been hard to get a huge bundle deal from. It might have been easy, who knows. So I just kind of cherry picked the stuff I wanted. Plus I had so much stuff right now that I was like, I want to be selective. Like I could probably make a big offer on these video games and make a little bit of money. But again, it was, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. In hindsight, like I should have. And also, well, actually, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'll talk about that in a little bit. My new podcast. It's not a new podcast. There's a new podcast, but it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be on a Patreon, behind Patreon. So it's gonna be like an extra podcast for Patreon subscribers. And it's gonna involve like reseller hindsight, and so that's all I'll say right now. I won't get too much into it. Until I get further along with it. But anyway, so fuck, I just completely lost my train of thought. Oh shit, it's like 50 minutes into this podcast right now. I've just been rolling. So I got like, I made a little deal on everything. There was like a pair of Reeboks that I kept looking at. They were brand new, still had the tags and the box, and they were like it was like almost like a retro color. So I kept looking at them, and I was like, how much do you have on these shoes? For some reason, I thought everything was going to be expensive, and it was not. And again, they were like trying to move stuff. They had a whole table of like brand new sealed tools. I wish I had looked those up and been like, try to see. I was trying to find the ad. I couldn't even find the ad again to be like, hey, can I come and pick a bunch of that shit up? But anyway, yeah, it wasn't anything I was like crazy super pumped to deal with, and the prices on it weren't like, wasn't an automatic that they were going to accept my lowball offer of $5 per tool. So I think I paid like $50 for everything. There was actually some comic books there too, so I got some like older comic books that were pretty good books to pick up. They had a bunch of like run of the mill like Incredible Hulk from like the 90s. These two were a little bit older. They were like, I think, Silver Age comics. Well, one was Silver Age. One was still a 90s book, but it was like the first cameo appearance of Mr. Sinister for X-Men. So I have the first appearance of Mr. Sinister too, so I can pair those books together if I ever decide to sell them. So so I got some good stuff, but those shoes, I ended up looking them up because I'm like, I'm gonna grab them. I was like, I'll bundle them in. I didn't even ask them for like, I was just like, whatever, I'll just see what the bundle price is for everything. So I think I was at like 38. They said they wanted 10 on the shoes, so I was like at 38 with the shoes, and then they threw everything together for like $50, which was a really good deal. I was gonna say 60, but I let them throw out the first number, and I'm glad. I probably could have said 40, and they would have said yeah. But it was such a good deal. You don't, you just kind of take it. You don't want to piss them off. And so then I looked up these shoes, and they're like some limited edition Save the Bees campaign or something. I don't know if they did it with like Odd Future or something. I have no idea. But there's 3 listed. None, they're all small sizes. Like I think 8.5 is the biggest size that they had on there. So these ones are 11.5. They're brand new with the tags, still the box. So yeah, I don't know what I think I saw one sold for like $120, and that was like a size 10. So I don't know. I might list it high and see what happens, but who knows? They're brand new. I think they have something to do with Wu-Tang. I don't know. One thing said Wu-Tang, the other thing said Odd Future, so I have no idea. One said it was like the Killer Bees, like Save the Bees collaboration or something, and I have no fucking idea. No clue whatsoever. I will talk about... So real quick, I got my GameStop grades back for my cards. My Pokemon cards that I sent in for grading. The Charizard got a 10. I was pretty pumped about that. I can't even remember. It was the black Charizard. I can't even remember what set it was from. Hidden Fates. Yeah, it was from Hidden Fates, but I can't remember what the Charizard's called. Anyway, so that one got a 10, and then the other 3 that I submitted got 9s, and I swear it's because lint. Like, I look and you can see like a thing of lint on the card, and I'm just like, if I had taken it to a card shop, they would have wiped it down. They would have like, these fucking people at GameStop didn't do any of that. They just like, This dude kept trying to sign me up for shit when I was picking him up. Then he was trying to have me trade in my car. He didn't even ask me if I wanted to trade in my cards. He was just like telling me my trade-in value. I was like, what are you doing right now? He's like, oh, this is what your cards are worth for trading. I go, I'm not trading them in. And he's just like, oh. I'm like, yeah, give me my fucking shit. I paid for them. Give them to me. Like, so finally he gave them to me. And then they had a box of like, it was like a $60 box. Like a premium collection Pokemon box, and of course my fucking stupid ass impulse buy, I was like, I'll take one of those too. So I got another card that I want to grade, and this time I'm going to go to a card shop. I'm going to have them like, because they clean them off. I still think those cards are 10s. I'm going to have them resubmitted, and hopefully, because down the road those are going to be worth some money, and I want them to be 10s, you know, the 10s that they are. So I'm going to bring them into a card shop and hope that they can help me out and get them where they need to be. So that's the update on those. And then, does anybody remember that song Shaniqua? That's just Shaniqua Don't Live Here No More. I don't know how that song popped into my head, but I put it on the other day, and I'm like, mentally I checked out like a minute into the song, but I listened to the whole thing. It was terrible. It almost sounded like Eminem. Like I had to look up to be like, did these guys copy Eminem or did Eminem copy these guys? And these guys were definitely after Eminem. It was like One Track Mike. What the fuck was the other guy's name? So One Track Mike. Fuck, I gotta look it up. But yeah, the song was called Shaniqua. It was like this dude. I remember he had like a fucking fucked up haircut. He was like bald with like it was like Shaniqua Don't Live Here. Let me see, Shaniqua. Little T and One Track Mike. Oh, I'm putting it on. I didn't mean to. Little Tree and One Track Mike, and the single is a urinal picture. That's a picture of the single is urinals. So yeah, that song, for some reason, I don't know why that song popped up the other day, and I didn't even pop up. I just remembered it, and I like listened to it. Like that song, I didn't know if it even existed. I was like, did I make this song up? And sure enough, it was on there. Little T and One Track Mike. Shaniqua Don't Live Here No Mo. And finally, what can we talk about? We'll pick one more thing. Oh, so yeah, eBay, man. Fuck these motherfuckers, dude. So I had it was like a costume jewelry ring that I sold. And I shipped it the same day, like literally shipped the same day. You can see in the order notes or whatever, when it was purchased and when it was shipped. It was purchased on, I think, July 21st and shipped that day. So I got a request like a week and a half later, and it was from somebody who was like claiming their order still hadn't shown up. So I look, and it hadn't been that long. It was like maybe 7 days from when like they had ordered it. And mind you, I shipped it the same day. So it's like if I'd waited to ship this thing like 4 days later, you know what I mean? Like you still wouldn't have got it until afterwards. You know what I mean? So while it says it's late, yes, I shipped it early. So like they're like, I want this back. I need a refund. Like, so I like an idiot, I reached out to eBay thinking like maybe they would fucking help me with this situation because I clearly shipped it the same day. Like the customers now like kind of demanding a refund. So they're like, yeah, my advice would be to just refund the customer, and because if you don't and they escalate it, then they're going to close it out in the buyer's favor, and then you won't be able to appeal and get any of your money back. So I'm like, that's dumb because I shipped it the first day that it was meant to be shipped. So why do I have to cover this? Like if I pay this person out and it gets delivered the next day, the post office isn't going to pay me back. You're not going to pay me back. The customer's probably not going to pay me back unless they're a really, really good person. And chances are they're not because they're sitting here bitching about something being late, even though they can see when it was shipped. And then the customer still was like, oh, it just is taking a while and I'm disappointed because it was supposed to be a gift. I'm like, I shipped it the same day. What more do you want me to do? I'm not going to deliver it to your door myself. I'm not going to get on a flight and fucking deliver it. Like, what? I don't understand in what universe that's my fucking problem. I shipped it the same day. And for some reason, eBay is like, you should pay them for this. So I didn't. I was like, fuck you, eBay. You're fucking dumb. Go ahead and ding my account. Like, give me a fucking reason to leave. Just fucking do it. And so I'm arguing with this possibly a bot on the fucking thing, like going back and forth. And so they're like, yeah, refund them. I'm like, that's terrible advice. Like, why are you giving this advice? It's stupid. You're dumb. I didn't say all that, but I'm like, you shouldn't be giving this advice. So then the next day, because I had submitted a missing mail search. So the next day came and sure enough, out for delivery. Like, so I would have been fucking screwed. So then it got delivered that day. The customer never apologized. Like, hey, sorry, fucking, I guess I was being impatient. And of course, eBay would have been like, oh, sorry, like you're out that money. It's just so fucking crazy that their policies are like so hands off with everything. It's infuriating. It's like, I don't remember the last time eBay ever had to pay out anything for anything. Like, they just get fees all day long. And anytime there's an issue, they're like, you need to pay for it. It's like, what are all these fees I'm paying? I pay for a fucking store. I pay fees on every fucking transaction. What are you doing? Anyway, that's the podcast. Finish on that note. Yeah, it got delivered, so it's almost like a waste of my time even going back and forth with them. So I'm just not even gonna, like, from now on they're gonna be my last resort because they're so unhelpful, so fucking unhelpful. Like, I needed support from the Whatnot team, and it was like super fast. They got it resolved. They weren't like, oh, you need to do that. They give you like 5 shipping adjustments a week. Like, I know I'm like, obviously fresh. I've barely made any money from Whatnot, and I'm over here like, I'm gonna jump ship. I'm gonna do it. So anyway, that's the podcast. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Check out the Whatnot stream on Wednesday. It's scheduled. If you check out my Instagram or whatever, there's a link in my link tree to the Whatnot. There's also I posted a link in my, actually, I don't know if I posted, yeah, I did. I posted a link in my my Flips and Giggles story on Facebook, and I'll post it again like the day of the show. So that's the podcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you again next week.